money, rewards, earnings are made when there's blood in the streets. People are selling it low. That's when you can find opportunities. And we saw that already not very long ago, March 2020, at the point where everything was so scary. That would have been one of the best points for you to start to come in. Hey guys, so the reality is the US economy is in a recession, and the textbook definition of a recession is that you have 2 straight quarters of the GDP contracting, and that's what we're actually seeing. And regardless of what other definition is put out there, that's where we are, and that's the reality. Whenever you see the economy contract, it's not something that's good. It's not something that people should be excited about. That being said, also, it has put a lot of fear in a lot of people on how they're supposed to go about their investments. When you hear people like Ray Dalio speak about how bad of a situation it will be when this cycle turns its head, or when Michael Burry makes statements that this would be an even bigger crash than the ones that we have seen before, and he brings so much credibility also based on how much he has made money off the 2008 crisis. In this video, I want to share my thoughts on what my frame of mind is in the midst of this recession. I've seen 2 recessions in my investing career, the 2008 financial crash, and then the dip, the very fast dip that we had because of COVID in March 2020. I want to share this from what my strategy was when I was starting out, when we saw the US economy and then it spiraled into a global recession in 2008. At that time, it was something that was much bigger also. It was something that a lot of people thought that it would not end. One of the things that they did to get them out of that particular recession was they dropped interest rates, and they started printing, and they started buying assets based on the free money that they printed. And that's what they did also in March 2020, that they kept printing, they kept buying assets in order to prop up the economy. However, what they're doing right now is the opposite. If you notice what's happening, they're literally increasing interest rates to combat inflation. One of the reasons I think that we are in this mess, when I say we are in this mess, what happens to the US economy, the whole world will also get affected. The whole world would get hit. Somewhere around May 2021, there was already a disclosure that inflation was about 5%. That would have been the time that they should have stopped printing. They should have stopped quantitative easing right there. Lo and behold, it took them more than 9 months to actually see that inflation might be a bigger problem. You all know what happened after that. They started to raise interest rates. Now, different scenario, different time from where we were in 2008. But here's what I want to submit to you on what should you do. Number 1, if you have cash flow and if money keeps on coming in, then it should not matter to you. It's nice to be concerned about the global economy, about the macro economy, but you should be more concerned also on your personal economy. Why? Because as long as money is coming your way, you're an employee, things are still well, then you have money to save it. Then you have money to invest it. Actual dips that may possibly happen when you see the markets drop, you can use that cash that's coming in as an opportunity for you to buy lower. It's a different scenario, it's a different case if your business gets hit, you don't have cash flow, or you get laid off from your job and you don't have cash flow, and when you lose that cash flow, you don't have much savings. But if you are watching this, you're actually saying that, okay, there's a lot of things happening in the macro, but my cash flow is sound, my business is okay, my employment is okay, then press on. Invest. Don't let the fear of what's happening prevent you from investing. So if you have cash flow, you're supposed to be okay. That's number 1. Number 2, if you have cash flow, you should stay invested. You should be invested. You should use this to be able to spot opportunities that you could not find when the markets are better. I'll say this over and over, and every great investor would say this, that money, rewards, earnings are made when there's blood in the streets. People are selling it low. That's when you can find opportunities. And we saw that already not very long ago, March 2020, at the point where everything was so scary. That would have been one of the best points for you to start to come in. If you stacked at that period of time, looking at it right now, August 2022, you would have still been in a better position regardless if you invested in Philippine stocks, US stocks, or even in the cryptocurrency market. And it really doesn't matter because time-tested principles would always say that you would get good discounts on assets that are superior and valuable at times when everyone's scared. If your cash flow is intact, be concerned, know what's going on. It shouldn't frighten you. If your cash flow is intact, invest, stay invested, look at opportunities. Number 3, don't be scared and look at what your grand timeline is. The reason why I say that is this. It would have been easy for me to be scared in 2008, 2009, when there was a lot of uncertainty also, and no one knew that the US market would go in one of the largest bull market cycles ever. No one knew that at that time. But my mindset and what I was thinking of was, in my early 20s, if I make a mistake, I have cash flow that it won't affect my day-to-day living. I have cash flow that I could use that to buy some more. Worst comes to worst, if I have no more cash flow to add, and that would be the last amount of money that I would put in for me to be able to invest and for me to be able to buy. I was actually thinking that, what if the market recovered 10 years after, 15 years after, 20 years after? Then I would have been okay. It really wouldn't matter. And please do note, my timeline at that time when I was starting out was, okay, early 20s, I'm investing up until 60. I had 30 plus years of investing. I was okay that should there be a recession that could possibly happen again after 2008, it's what we saw in 2020, I would still be okay. I would not be panicking. And please do note this, that I believe that there may be another recession 10 years from now, from the time you're watching this. And I'm not scared. Why? I'll say this over and over, recessions are cyclical. It's not a question whether a recession will happen. It's only a question of when. And a bigger and deeper question is what you're doing. And what I did when I was younger is I stacked, I added. And what I'm doing a decade later is that, should it drop, I'm still gonna be invested. When your timeline is long, and when you know that you are putting it into assets that are superior, it doesn't matter. Because if you don't need the money, you're supposed to be okay. It matters if what you're putting is money that you need, is something that should have been for something else and not invested. What will give you the tenacity to invest in times like this, when everything else is scary, when no one wants to invest, is you're buying something that's superior. You have extra money that you don't plan to touch, that if it goes to zero, you're okay, and you've studied the investment well. Regardless if there's a recession, if your timeline is long, you have cash flow, and you choose to stay invested, you should be in a better position. Times like this should be the time also where you hone your skills so that you get better. The biggest mistake of people is when they experience a red portfolio or they experience a loss. They get out of that asset in general. They stop investing in general. You should do the opposite. Majority of the people go that route and stop investing, quit, leave, and not invest altogether. But the 1%, the 2%, the smaller part of the population that excels, use this time to be able to learn, to be able to see where did I make a mistake and how could I make it better. Because it's not just in bad times where the money is. It's also in bad times where your skills are honed so that you become a bigger and better investor. I don't know if this will drag on. I don't know if it will become much worse. But what I do know is I'm gonna focus on what I could control. And that's what I want to submit to all of you. Double down, invest, find areas and opportunities where you know that you could do better. If you guys like this, put questions down below and I'll try to make videos based on the questions that you guys have been sending. If you stayed up until the end and you like videos like this, I'd appreciate it if you could press the like button, because it helps boost this video up. People from our generation get to see it more. And if you really want to help this video, put a comment down below, regardless of what you say. Either put a question, or put I'm learning, or put algo, or put I agree with what you say, whatever you want. The more comments that you put, the better this video performs. And if you want this to reach more people, press the share button, send it to your chat group, send it to your Viber group, send it to your friends. If you want to know more about investing, there's a lot of ways. If you want to learn the free route, I have thousands of videos. I have more than 2,000 videos in YouTube that you can watch. If you want to read books, I've written 5 books which are best-selling books here in the Philippines, and they're available via Shopee and Lazada. You can check it out down below as well. And if you want to learn via the seminar route, I have 3 webinars that you can watch. One is technical analysis, which allows you to analyze the markets using charts, and it's applicable for both the stock market and the cryptocurrency market. It's one of the things that I use that allow me not to be scared or emotional when times are down. Second is a fundamental analysis course if you want to study stocks, which companies and stocks are good, growing, have a durable competitive advantage. That's what we're going to talk about in that webinar course as well. And lastly, we have an investment 101 session if you feel that, okay, I want a deeper dive on stocks, on bonds, on REITs, on crypto, on altcoins, and the NFT market. We have that too as well. That's it for now. Marvin Germo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, and God bless you all.